My name is Lorianne, and I'm so happy to be here with you today to teach you some vocal coaching about 5 steps to learn a song. And so today we're going to be using the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Perhaps you are familiar with that song. I'm a professional singer. I actually have a Grammy Award that I won through LA Opera, which is really exciting. I've sung in opera stages, musical theater stages, symphonic stages, probably for the last 25 years. I've been singing professionally and teaching in my private voice studio. So I've taught at colleges as well as in my home studio. I currently am in Cleveland, Ohio, woohoo, but I've lived in LA for the last 16 years. I grew up in Texas and Louisiana. I went to college in Florida, and then I moved to Chicago to do my grad school, and then from Chicago I was based there internationally as I traveled all over the US and Europe to do singing and performing. And then I moved to LA. And so LA is really what I consider my home. However, right now, this time in Cleveland, my husband and I are working on some production work. We have a TV and film production company that we work on, and I'm performing locally as well as teaching online voice lessons through Take Lessons. So today, we're going to be talking about 5 steps to learning a song. And so I'm using the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So step number 1, listen to the song and lip trill or hum along with the melody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the song in its entirety, and then as we go through the steps, we're probably just going to use different sections of the song. But for now, I'm going to play you the whole thing. I'll sing it for you, and I want you to listen really carefully to the melody so that you're getting an idea of where the melody is going, how the phrasing is working, where you might be taking a breath within the phrase, so that you can mark, if you had your music in front of you, you can mark with a little check mark or whatever where you're going to breathe, and through this really get familiar with how the song is laid out. So just a quick warning though, whenever you're listening to a song to get familiar with the music, you want to be careful not to mimic what you're hearing. So when you're learning a song, you want to learn it in your own voice, sing it as uniquely as you can, and not just copy what someone else does. All right, so listen to the way I'm going to do it. Doesn't mean you're going to sound anything like this, but I want you just to get that chance to listen and make note of where I'm breathing, where I'm phrasing. Maybe it's a punctuation mark, maybe it's where there's a rest in the music, all of that. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I dreamed of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that I dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I? All right, so there is the song in its entirety for you to listen to the melody and really get familiar with where you're breathing, how you're phrasing, listen to how the song is laid out according to the composer's wishes. Now, part of this step 2 is step number 1 also is to use the lip trill or the hum. So if you're not familiar with what a lip trill is, we would do it like this. So you put your fingers next to the sides of your mouth and you take a breath in, and then as you release your air, your lips will flutter. And so that will be connecting your breath into a really relaxed mouth position, a relaxed throat position. so that then you can put a hum right behind that. Lip trills are great for coordinating breath, keeping your mouth and your throat loose, and it helps to focus your voice forward. So you're humming right behind it. Now a hum by itself is like a little M sound, and it's right on your lips. You feel a little tickle or a little buzz as you're going along. And so part of this step is to really learn the melody of the song using either the lip trill or the hum. And so let's try just a couple of the phrases using that lip trill. So starting on the first phrase, it goes like this. Notice I stopped my lip trill every time I took a breath, so about every 2 measures or so for those first couple of phrases. And I did it according to the punctuation of the word. So if you notice somewhere over the rainbow, comma, that's a good time to take a breath. Way up high, comma. There's a land that I dreamed of. I take a breath there. Just musically it makes sense. Once in a lullaby, period. So that's the end of that phrase. Now if I'm humming it, I'll hum the next phrase. And remember that hum is right on the lips. So you want to feel that really buzzy feeling. You want to use lots of breath and really connect the notes as you're learning this melody. I have a question from Jacqueline. Hi. Vocal nodules on your vocal cords. So learning to do that lip trill and that hum in a very easy way will actually help you with vibrating your muscles together. And so nodules are little bumps on the vocal cords, and it creates gaps in the vocal mechanism. But if you do it in a very gentle way, using this hum or lip trill, for instance, and then as we go through the next steps, as long as you're not forcing the air too loudly or you're trying to sing too loudly in the melody, it will help create the muscles and help you learn the song without further damaging your voice. Now you're going to be really wanting to work on your breath and support well with your breath. Now your doctor and your voice teacher would probably have you only sing for short periods of time so that you can rest your voice in between. So really the only way to get rid of nodules forever is through good vocal technique and also rest periods where you're not whispering, you're not using your voice, you're keeping everything nice and loose. Rest is the most important thing when it comes to nodules. Okay, so we've listened to the song, you're getting familiar with the melody, we've worked on the melody with a lip trill and also that really buzzy forward hum, working out all the phrasing, the breath marks, connecting the notes as much as possible, learning the notes as much as you can. Now let's look at it on a single vowel. So we know that there are 5 primary vowels that we use in singing and in speech. They are E, A, Ah, O, U. And I'm sure you've practiced those a lot with your teachers and as you're learning to speak. And so each vowel is produced differently according to the movement and placement of your tongue. So if you want to keep your tongue at the bottom teeth, when you say E, E, your tongue lifts up a little bit, right? And so we call that a forward vowel. It's very focused forward right at the teeth. E. In A, the tongue lowers down just a little bit. It's still that forward sound. It's still very bright. E, A, and then ah is what we call a mid vowel. So the tongue rests really gently in the base of your mouth. After ah, notice how open my jaw is, how I've got lots of space in my mouth for ah. Then I can go oh. Round my lips just a little bit. The tongue lifts up in the back a little bit, but still the tip of the tongue is at the teeth. Oh. And then with ooh, I really round my lips to a nice ooh shape. And then keep that sound really forward. So again, E, A, Ah, O, And so on this step, as we're learning to sing the musical phrases with a single vowel, you can choose which vowel feels really good for you. The idea is that you're finding something that feels really comfortable, really, you're not overdoing it, you're not pressing, you're not trying to sing it super loudly, you're still learning the song, right? And I forgot to say before, we're just using this song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, because it's a pretty familiar melody. However, anytime your teacher gives you a song, you can use these same steps to learn it. We just break it down in this way so that once you've worked through all the steps, you can essentially have the song memorized. Let's look at the melody of our song on that single vowel. So I'm going to skip down to the bridge section that moves a little quicker, and I'm going to do it on an E sound. So remember that the E is that forward placed vowel. The tongue is forward, it's lifted a little bit, the tip of the tongue is down, the middle part of the tongue is lifted up. E, I feel it right here in my singer's mask, like we like to say. And then let's try this step. So it goes like this. E, E, E. And then if E is hard for you, you could try ah. The tongue drops a little bit. Ah, ah, ah. Sometimes on the upper notes, an ah or an o is a lot easier to sing because you've got more space in your mouth. I hope that helps you with this step. So what you would do is you would work through your song on all the measures, all the melody with that single vowel and get it as smooth. We call that legato singing, really smooth note to note movement with the vowel shape throughout the line. Hopefully by this time, after you've worked through this single vowel step, you would have repeated the melody so much that you would have the melody pretty much memorized, right? You worked on the phrasing, you've got your breaths in the same place, you're working to create that beautiful phrase and creating the vowel shape that's on every single note of the melody. Next, in step 3, if you're moving right along and following along with me, we are going to talk about the rhythm of the words. So notice this step, not till the 3rd step do we actually get to the words of the song. And the reason why I do that is because when we first hear a piece, instead of just trying to sing everything and make it all just put together right away, it's better to take away the words and to look at the song, break it down to its most simple thing, which would be just listening to the melody and working on it as we've done with that single vowel shape. So now when we get to the words, we will first speak them. So when you're speaking the words, you would want to use your breath as if you were singing, but speak them in such a way that it's representative of how the song ultimately will go. So you're working with the rhythm that the composer wrote into the song for you. Now, unfortunately, a lot of singers have issues with rhythm, and I really believe it's because, one, either you didn't take the time to really look and learn how the song was written. Maybe you don't read music at all, and maybe your teacher hasn't really emphasized rhythm with you. I do recommend looking at the printed sheet music of the song. That way you are looking at the notes and trying to put it together with how the composer wrote it. And I get it, like reading music, I learned it when I was young because I started learning piano when I was young. But it is to your benefit to know how to read what's on the page. So we have different notes, different note values, and we want to speak the words in the rhythm of that melody. So if I do the first phrase for you, it goes like this. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. So notice I'm connecting the notes. So somewhere, those notes each have 2 beats, and so they're a little bit longer, right? Over the rainbow, notice the those are the 8th notes, so those go a little bit quicker. And then way up high. The word high is what we call a whole note, so it takes up the entire measure. So you hold it for a little bit longer. If you skip down to where the bridge is, which is in measure 17, the part that we were just working on with the single vowel, someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, right? All of those notes are really quick. Those are called eighth notes. So they go a little bit faster. So as you're working the rhythm of the song, you're already working your mouth muscles, you're working the consonant sounds, you're getting the vowels in the right place. And again, I'm just speaking it. I'm not trying to sing it right now. I'm just speaking it. If you notice too, in measure 20, after the words behind me, that measure has some rests in it. So that's telling me that I get a chance to stop, take my breath, and wait until the music picks back up again. So in this case, it's for 3.5 beats because you have a half rest in the beginning. That's that little dash mark if you're not sure. Then you have that little squiggly line, which is your quarter note rest, which is 1 beat. And then you have an eighth note rest, which is a half beat. And then you have the final note in the measure, which is the eighth note that picks up into where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. So notice I am taking my breaths at the phrases that we've already determined all the way back on step 1. And I'm just working the rhythm as the composer wrote in the song. And again, I'm speaking it, you know? Another quick tip for you is you can use a metronome, or you could have your teacher or something that will give you just this steady beat so you can stay on track with your rhythm. So if I do that, right, here it is, I'll go. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. 1, 2, 3. Where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I? I promise if you take the time to really learn the words in rhythm, you won't have any worries about memorizing your lyrics, because the more you repeat it, the more your muscles remember, the more your brain will connect with the words. And then once you'll work on the next step, which I'll share with you in a moment, it will be so much easier to get to the final step of putting the song all together. We talked about step 1, listening to the song using lip trill and hum to learn the melody. Step 2, using a single vowel, E, A, A, O, U, to sing the melody on, to really connect the notes. The next step we just did, step 3, is about speaking the words in the rhythm of the song. So we talked a lot about that. And then the next one, step 4, dun, da, 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 we get to work on the vowels of the words. And so this step, I find my students either love it or they hate it, okay? So as you've worked on the words in the rhythm, now you're going to take away the consonant sounds and you're just going to look at the vowels in the words. The vowel is what carries the tone of your singing. So you can't really sing unless you're doing a voice consonant like or something like that, or a hum. I once sang a piece with the LA Philharmonic where I had to hum the entire time. It was beautiful. But unless your song is just either that, you're going to have words to work on. And so you're going to work on the vowels of the words. And so it can be a little tricky, right? Because we have a lot of what's called diphthongs in our words. So that means that there are more than one vowel. There are 2 vowels on a particular syllable in the music for the words. So if you even look at the first phrase of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, if you look at the word rainbow, bow has an O and an U sound in it. So as you're working on the vowel shapes, you have to be able to sing all of those vowels, but you emphasize the first vowel in that diphthong, meaning you wouldn't go rainbow and sing it on the U sound. You would sing rainbow. and then end with the oo. So in this step, you're going to look at all the vowels within the words and sing the melody using those vowels. So I'll demonstrate a couple of phrases for you. As I'm looking at the music, another word is the word high. High has an ah and an e sound in it. High. And again, you wouldn't sing hi, right? You would go hi and then put the e at the very end. So here's how it would sound if I'm working on just the vowels of the words. And again, I could apply this to my entire song that I'm learning, and it will help me memorize, help me get the vowel to vowel movement really smooth, really legato, really connected, help to get my breath and my phrasing working better. And then my tongue and my mouth are just shaping the sound beautifully, okay? So here's how it goes in that first phrase. It goes like this. Notice it's a little challenging, right, to not use the consonant sounds, but I promise you, if you take the time to do this step, it will really, really help you. You're working with those diphthongs, you're working on the smooth legato phrases, the vowel to vowel movement within the phrase. It's really great. A free tip for this step that I have on the slide here is to record yourself while you're practicing the vowel to vowel movement, because it's possible, and your teacher probably will tell you sometimes like, hey, that's supposed to be an ah sound, but it doesn't really sound like an ah sound. It sounds more like an aw or an o sound. So if you record yourself or have someone listen back to what you're doing, you can really be more accurate with your vowel shapes. Now we get to put the song together with the actual words. And so, as I said before, I don't recommend learning a song, jumping in right away with just all of these elements, right? Now, singing a song includes being able to express the song, deciding how loud or how soft you might sing some of the phrases, how you're telling the story through the words and the musical phrases, how you're acting out the songs. Perhaps you're learning a musical theater song and you've got to be in this character, right? How you're telling the story. And then in this step too, if you're having a hard time remembering the words, maybe go back and repeat speaking the words in rhythm, looking at the vowels of the words. But if you're having a hard time, one other quick tool that I like to use is I like to write out my words. Especially, like, I had to do, one of my favorite operatic roles is Violetta in La Traviata. And I have notebooks full of my Italian words for Violetta, because obviously I'm an English speaker, but I've studied Italian, French, and German. But sometimes memorizing in a foreign language, if I'm not thinking it, is really difficult. So if you write out the words, it's a lot easier to help you to remember it. But by this time, step 5, singing the song, you would have repeated the song over and over again. You've worked out all your breath. You figured out, okay, on this phrase, I want to sing it a little bit louder. On this phrase, I want to pull it back a little bit. On this phrase, I'm feeling more, triumphant or whatever. Or in this phrase, it's a little bit sadder and more introverted. Whatever it is that's bringing out the expression of the song, that's what you would do for step number 5. So as I go, I'm going to sing the song for you. Notice that I'm breathing in the right places, the same places that we established from step 1. I've worked all the vowels, so hopefully my vowel shapes are clear. I'm using my consonant sounds now to shape the words, so hopefully those will come across as well. I'm doing the correct rhythm because I've already practiced that in my step number 3. And then now, notice any places where I change the dynamic or the expression of the song. Okay, and if you want to, go ahead and sing along with me, because maybe by now you recognize the song and you are familiar with what we've been talking about all class. So here we go. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I dreamed of once in a lullaby. Somewhere that I dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles smell like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I? Hopefully that's helpful to you with hearing the differences in the choices of the dynamics. Loud or soft, expressing the phrase, putting all of it together after you've done all the work. So hopefully that is very helpful for you, and as you go to learn your next song, you can work through the steps. So if you're interested in taking a lesson, I am doing online lessons right now. I have students in Chicago, in LA, here on the East Coast as well. So definitely hit me up if you're looking to book some private sessions. It's really been a pleasure to teach this to you guys. My teacher back in college taught me these 5 steps, and honestly, throughout my entire professional career, I have used these 5 steps to learn everything. Like I said, I use it for any time I'm learning an operatic role, a musical theater role, if I'm putting together a recital, if I'm singing with a jazz band, doing anything with orchestra or whatever. It's been really helpful to me.